Well, what is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Today on the table in front of us is a knife that I have watched go from very early stages, early prototypes, to the final production version here. And I am exceptionally happy to have one on the table. This is the Artisan Knives Tacit, designed by Dirk Pinkerton. Well, I have been waiting for this knife for quite some time. You guys know I generally like big, chunky knives, but this is one of those cool, smaller knives that, because of Dirk's really smart handle design, fits my big old meat hook exceptionally well. This is a very cool knife. Now, this one is in that interesting Artisan Damascus, as you can see. Hopefully that's coming up on camera. They are, of course, making this Damascus version and an S35 VN version. Damascus is what they had for me to check out, so here it is. I love this little knife. I don't say that a lot about small knives, but every once in a while one appears that just really catches my attention. Now, part of that is this blade design. It is a tanto. It's a bit of a trailing point with a tanto. It has a little bit of belly, as you can see right there, right? A little bit of belly and a nice, flat, sturdy tanto tip. This is an exceptionally useful work knife. This tanto edge means that you can do light draw cuts across surfaces. The tip for push cuts is very, very good. And of course, the knife itself is very comfortable to use, which is surprising considering how small it is. It has a couple of cool features that I really enjoy in this final production version that are different from other protos that I have seen. One is that Dirk Pinkerton got involved with the final details of this production, and he moved the pivot up on the frame a little bit, extended the flipper tab just a hair from the other protos, and that means that you can use the blade stops as thumb studs. I think that is so cool. It means that this knife has two never-fail forms of deployment, and that is awesome. So let's take a look at what you get sort of specs-wise. Keeping in mind that this, of course, is the Damascus version, but the one you get might be an S35 VN. You get 1, 2, 3.25 inches of cutting on 3 inches of either Damascus or S35 VN. The grip area from just behind the flipper tab is 1 to 3.5 inches, and that is right at my limit. If it was any smaller, it wouldn't fit, but I'll tell you, it does. It is a nice thin knife. That is one of the changes they made. I actually have one of the old protos handy, and as you can see, they thinned out the knife for final production, making it a very, very nice carry, right? Other than that, they are virtually identical, except for the subtle changes that I mentioned. The overall knife is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.75 inches long, just coming up on 8 inches. I told you it's not an enormous knife, and it's not. Here it is, you know, against the PM2. As you can see, the PM2 is considerably bigger. It is a little bigger than the PM3, and you get a ton more cutting surface, which I like quite a bit. And it is larger than the Delica, right? You do get a very, very similar handle size to the Delica. You just get a lot more blade. I love Dirk Pinkerton's work. I have a couple of the proponents. I've had the Escort by Kizer. I've had a couple of his Kizers. I love the work that Dirk Pinkerton does in his design aesthetic, and this is no exception. In fact, I think this is probably my favorite to date. Again, it looks like it should be too small, but it is a very compact, exceptionally useful pocket knife. Let's get some weight out of the way, because that's what we do. Alrighty. The Tacit here comes in at just at 4 ounces. For a 3.5 inch blade, that's not bad, right? This is a very good pocket knife. And interesting. I love, as I said, I love this trailing point. I love the tanto, right? A little bit of belly right here. I keep coming back to that because it makes this knife interesting and sort of special, and I think it's very, very cool. Let's get the blade stock out of the way. Now, I mentioned they did thin this down from its original prototype. So let's take a look at where they've done that. They are using 3.2 millimeter blade stock, and the handle itself at its thickest point, not including the pocket clip, is 10 millimeters or 0.425 inches. There you go. This is a very nice, light, comfortable carry. It's fun to watch a knife go from its really early prototypes to the finished production models. Artisan does a lot of fine-tuning on their knives before they actually release them. And one of the reasons they do that, and they do release protos out to the world so people can see them, is just for that input. What should be different? What could be different? And they tend to listen, but particularly who they listen to are the designers, which is very nice. Some knife companies get to a certain point and they don't really do a lot of changes, but this is not one of those knives. So what's the final conclusion, really? Well, here it is. Artisan makes great knives. They do. Some of my favorite knives have been Artisan. They listened to their designers. The designers have a lot of input on the final product, and when they finally hit the market, they can be very, very cool, and this is no exception. If you are looking for a good, mid-size, lightweight EDC knife with a ton of style that will also serve you very well in a gas station fight, should you need such a thing, the Artisan Tasset is a great way to go. I am 100% behind this knife. I think it is beautiful, I think it is well made, and I think that you would really enjoy it if you like the features as they are presented. You know your knife taste far better than I ever would. But for me, this is a total win. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Artisan Tasset. I have been a Therapeutic Edge. If you have any questions about this knife or any of my knives, feel free to ask down in the comments below. Please subscribe on your way out. I would love to have you here on a regular basis. We'll see you next time.